Hey there! Today we're going to talk about growing products versus building products. Something we briefly touched upon during the TDD is a requirements engineering practice before, and want to continue on today using the famous pictures of building a car, giving you an idea on how it could look like beyond the TDD practices. This time more from a viewpoint of the lean startup MVP or similar MTP, MSP and MLP approach. Stay tuned. When we learn a programming language, we are taught how to build blocks, first functions and all possibilities in them, then modules and classes. We are taught to design the product or feature and build it instead of growing. And that's where the misery starts. Let me try to explain to you. We are taught to build a car piece by piece. Like in the image where we first have the wheels, then we have the wheels, the ground plate and an engine, then we have the wheels, the ground plate, engine, we have a seat and the basic surroundings covered, and then we add a roof on top of this and windows, and there we are, we have a car. This is the traditional approach of building products. And many do this iteratively these days, thinking this is helpful. It's not. Imagine we go with iteration 1 and we present the tires only to our customers. The customers will be thinking, why do you show me tires? I ordered a car. I can't do anything with this. So we don't learn anything as well. With each iteration in this process, we come closer to the end product, but the customer is not happy as they can't use the product because it's only partially ready. Until finally the customer receives the final product, a car. The customer goes like, thanks, but why didn't you deliver this and skipped all the other useless deliveries in between? Why did you bother us that much? So putting this kind of building a product in an iterative process is not going to be that helpful, is it? Consequences, the customer is finally happy with the end product? Question mark. In reality, mostly not the case, as lots of time will have passed. And there were no real user tests, so the product will have lots of design flaws due to incorrect assumptions from the start. Happy customers is thus generally far-fetched in this case. Growing a product or a feature is different. It looks like starting with a skateboard, going to a scooter, from a scooter to a bike, from a bike to a car, for example. This would be more the growth of a product or the growth of the feature. We still aim to deliver the car, but we first start with the skateboard. Even though the context is thus the same and a customer orders a car, we approach it completely different. We don't just build the car. We don't focus on the output. We focus on the underlying need of the customer, the outcome. And the customer just says that they want to go faster from A to B. A car is one way to get there. Of course, this is just a metaphor. Think about new features, new product, and the load of assumptions that are in play. What is your skateboard version? The so-called MVP or minimum viable product. It's the basis for future developments based on user testing, validating assumptions along the way, avoiding design flaws early on. The customer will be very unlikely that the customer will be happy with the skateboard, as it does not even resemble the car they want so badly. We will satisfy a couple of early adopters, and most importantly, we will learn from users of our basic solution. Compared to our wheels from before, a skateboard can be used to go from A to B already. We still aim to build a car, but a first step is made that enables us to collect feedback. The feedback is that it goes faster to go from A to B, but it's very difficult to stay on top. So we add something that possibly will solve the problem and we can continue our learning journey. We add a steering column at the front so it becomes a scooter, which will hopefully help with the stability that was still an issue in our early user testing. The customer is using our evolved product and we receive again some feedback. It works very well on stability, but it's still difficult to go for long distances. Small wheels, no real option to have a pause for a longer time, so long distances are still very troublesome. We adapt our thinking and build a bike with larger wheels and the option to just sit, relax and go for a longer time without the need or pedaling or without instability and all of that things. So we deliver the bike. The customer likes the feeling of the fresh air and the wind in the hairs. The customer likes the bigger wheels and the stability of our increment. Maybe the bicycle is a far better product versus the car they initially had in mind. During the testing, the bike, we noticed the roads to take are too narrow for a car. So while the users, the clients were using the bike, they noticed actually if you would have built a car, the roads were too narrow. So we saved the customer a lot of time. They can stop up now and keep using the bike. No harm done. I hear you thinking, they should have known this from the start with a thorough upfront analysis. I have learned in my 20 plus years in the fields that no matter how much analysis is done up front, there are always surprises when you put things in the hand of real users. Many of the assumptions made during the analysis seems to be far off target. And that's a promise from me to you. Let's assume the customer is happy with the bicycle and still wants to go faster. We could add an electrical motor to the bike as a next step. We keep challenging us to find the simplest, the cheapest way to fix our customer problem. So we add an electrical motor to it. The customer is very happy with the improvement and would love to share the riding experience with more people on board. This bicycle doesn't have seats enough. This time we might go to a convertible car, still providing the same joyful experience of fresh air and wind in the hairs. With the convertible car, the customer is extremely happy, has no further wishes anymore. The customer got his car, a better version than the one they initially had in mind. Conclusion: in our first car building process, delivering tires is useless as we deliver stuff that can't be used. In such a process, decisions will be political and difficult to make. In our second car building process, we kept learning from experiences and data. In this process, decisions will be easier to take and based on evidence. So what is your skateboard? In product development, it's crucial to identify the problems you want to solve. From there on, identify your skateboard, the smallest thing possible that is useful and enables us to receive valuable feedback. Maybe you could use the MTP, MSP, MLP version for your product and use soft launches or A/B testing for the MTP one. If I say MTP, MSP, MLP, MTP stands for the minimum testable product. The MSP is then the minimum sellable product and the MLP is the minimum lovable product. You don't go with minimum lovable if you didn't test it out. Makes it also pretty clear that we need to validate the underlying assumptions, that we really definitely solve the problems and not do too much at once. So some final words for this short video: avoid big bang deliveries for innovative product development. Identify your skateboard for the product and also features you want to test. Start growing your products. Stop building them. There is no use in an iterative process like Scrum if you do not change the way you build your products and features. Thank you. My purpose is to help organizations build great products with great teams. Don't build, start growing. Bye bye.